Okay, we're talking about the strapped sumo squat. So again, this is to strengthen your hip stabilizers, glutes, as well as while you're training to do sumo squats for your legs. Great exercise for stability through your hip and pelvis. So first off, don't go with a wimpy elastic on this one. You'll surprise yourself how much you can work with. This is actually a 40-pound elastic doubled up. So there's lots of resistance here. Because we're doing strap knees, for your sets and reps, whatever the goal reps are, if the only thing that's stopping you during this drill is, leg fatigue, not necessarily glutes from being strapped, then the resistance from the elastic is not high enough. You really need to be, the reason you're doing this with the strap knee is to equal out the weak link, either, your legs fail or your hips fail. But they're pretty close to the same thing, trying to keep up with each other, okay? So sumo squat is a wide stance. You can toe out if you want to, if it's more comfortable for your hips. Certainly most people should toe out a little bit for hip alignment, but it's a nice wide stance. Standing in this position here, knees are inside the feet. As soon as the knees bend, you're going to push your knees out over your feet. Before we do any of that, you have to monitor your big three. Okay, so big three is part of everything. Make sure your center of gravity stays the same. Neutral spine, TVA is all working very, very hard during this exercise. And in particular, neutral spine, you're monitoring that position all the time. Okay, so go ahead and slowly squat. So as he squats, you push those knees out over your feet. If you find you can get your knees wider than your feet, then set your feet farther apart. And back up. And you want to be working against this elastic. Like I said before, the most important part of this, the reason we're adding this into the squat is because this needs to be a fail point. So don't go with an elastic that's not going to make you fail. Go with an elastic that's going to challenge you, and as soon as you can do the goal reps, then move to something stronger. So for the side profile of your sumo squat, it's much the same as a regular squat. You want to be sitting back, but not sitting back so far that it gets the weight off your toes. Go ahead and squat. Don't be afraid to lean forward. Monitor where your squat limit is. If it's taking out a neutral spine, or if you have a hard time monitoring it now because your hips are getting tired and all this, go back to the K-tape or having tape on your back to monitor your neutral spine, okay? So nice and straight, face forward, chest out, come back up. And everything else that you learned during the squatting, which incidentally, if you haven't, gone through that video, then definitely go through that video as well, okay?